This last question is based on x1, x2, xn inference portion. It says x1, x2, xn are IID uniform theta to theta where theta is greater than 0. Then which of the following statements are correct? First of all, we need to think that, see, uh, if all xi's are following theta and 2 theta, then f of xi equals to 1 upon theta, where each xi is lying between theta and 2 theta for all I 1 to n. Now if you want to write likelihood function, then it can be written as product of I1 to n f of xi, since all xi's are independent here. It can be written as 1 upon theta raised to power n, where all xi's x1, x2, xn are lying between theta and 2 theta. We have another way of writing likelihood, which is in the form of ordered statistics. 1 upon theta raised to power n, theta less than equals to x1 less than equals to some other order statistics, some next order statistics, then xn less than equals to 2 theta. Here only inequality sign is required. And finally, if we want to write likelihood function in the form of indicator function, as we have done in many questions previously, L equals to 1 upon theta raised to power n, I x1 is lying between theta and xn, and xn is lying between x1 and 2 theta. x1 is lying between theta and xn, and this xn is lying between x1 and 2 theta. So finally we can say that likelihood is nothing but the function of theta, x1 and xn only. And if we remember the Neyman-Pearson lemma, Neyman factorization theorem, I always get about testing. So Neyman factorization theorem, if you remember, it says that if your likelihood function is can be partitioned as likelihood function equals to f of theta and some statistics t and hx, then this t is sufficient statistics for theta. Here we can easily see that in our likelihood function, hx equals to hx is taken as 1, and your t is joint statistics x1 and xn, and parameter is nothing but theta. So by Neyman factorization theorem, this t is sufficient for theta. So option number 1 is correctly partially, option number 2 is correct partially, but we cannot say anything about completeness. So for completeness, we need to go through some other concepts. How to prove that any statistics is not complete? It is not that difficult to prove. See, first of all, for finding completeness, we need to find density function of this maximum and minimum first. So let us write y equals to a minimum of x and u equals to a maximum of x. Then density function of y, that is taken as g of y, can be written as n of f of y, capital F of y raised to power n minus 1. Here small f is nothing but the density function of initial random variable x, and capital F is nothing but the distribution function of initial random variable x, and h of u can be written as, sorry, here 1 minus fy should be written. Here n f of u raised to power n minus 1. So if f of x equals to 1 upon theta, then what should be the value of capital of fx? Capital of fx, I am not writing I in subscript. Theta to x 1 upon theta dt. So it is x minus theta upon theta as capital distribution function of initial random variable x. Now g of y can be written as n of f of y. F of y means a density function of x but written in terms of y, which is 1 upon theta 1 minus f of y. F of y is y minus theta upon theta. It is nothing but a density function of x, but we only replaced x by y, n minus 1. So finally n upon theta into 2 theta minus y upon theta raised to power n minus 1. And finally this term can be simplified as n 2 theta minus y raised to power n minus 1 upon theta raised to power n. This is how the density function of minimum came. Now we are going to find density function of maximum. So how we will find density function of maximum? Now we will find density function of maximum, that is f of, it is not f of, it is h of u and 1 upon theta raised to power u minus theta upon theta raised to power n minus 1, which can be written as n u minus theta raised to power n minus 1 upon theta raised to power n. We can compare it by the previous. Here only 2 theta is replaced by theta and all other things are same. So we have find density function for the maximum and density function for minimum. Let us find the expectation for each maximum and minimum. So let us find expectation for maximum first. Expectation of u equals to u n u minus theta raised to power n minus 1 theta raised to power n du, and the limit of u is same as limit of x, theta to 2 theta, u upon theta raised to power n theta 2 theta, and u minus theta raised to power n minus 1 du. Let us assume u minus theta as t, then du equals to dt. Then how the range will get changed? 0 to theta, theta plus t, and t raised to power n minus 1 dt, u upon theta raised to power n. So integration of t raised to power n minus 1 will be t raised to power n upon n plus integration of t raised to power n, that is t raised to power n plus 1 upon n plus 1. After putting the limits we will get here we will get theta raised to power after replacing t with 0 we will get 0. So we will not consider second term. We are thinking about only first term when we replace t by theta. When we replace t by theta, then we will get theta raised to power n plus 1 and theta raised to power n plus 1. in both places, which will be cancelled out by theta raised to power n, and a single theta will be present here, u theta. And inside the bracket we will have 1 upon n plus 1, and finally we will get how this u is coming outside. Sorry, I have written u in place of n. I was about to write n. So here is n theta n plus 2 upon n plus 1. So finally theta n plus 2 and n plus 1. This is expectation for a maximum. Now we will find expectation for minimum. What will be the changed expectation of y? The only thing that will be changed is u minus theta. Okay, let us write it again. Theta 2 theta y n theta raised to power n, and 2 theta minus y raised to power n minus 1 dy, and again writing 2 theta minus y equals to t. We will get minus of dt dy. Okay, minus of dt equals to dy. And here theta 2 2 theta minus theta is theta, and 2 theta minus 2 theta is 0. So limit has been becoming theta to 0. But if we impose minus, then the limit will again be 0 to theta. So y equals to 2 theta minus t, and we are writing t raised to power n minus 1 dt, and theta raised to power n, and theta raised to power n, 2 theta and t raised to power n minus 1. Integration will be t raised to power n upon n plus it is not plus, it is minus. It is like 2 theta t raised to power n minus, and after integrating we will get this. Now theta raised to power n will get cancelled with theta raised to power n here and theta raised to power n here. We will only get n theta, and in bracket we are left with 2 upon n minus 1 upon n plus 1. Let us solve it. 2n plus 2 minus n upon n plus 1. Then we will get theta n plus 2 upon n plus 1. So expectation of u equals to expectation of y. Now think. Since expectation of u is equals to expectation of y, then we can write it as expectation of u minus y equals to 0. We are having a function of u and y, that is u minus y equals to 0, where u is not equals to y. Then it is enough to prove that this the joint sufficient statistics x1 xn is not complete sufficient, because the function of complete sufficient statistics, the function of sufficient statistics, that is u xn minus x1 is equals to 0, but xn is not equals to x1. The function is not identically 0, but its expectation is getting 0. That is why xn and x1 is not jointly complete sufficient. Now the last concept is rest, which is based on concept of MLE, maximum likelihood estimator. When will be the likelihood will be maximum? The likelihood, see, this is the maximum value of likelihood, 1 upon theta raised to power n. And when we will get this maximum value? We will get this maximum value when we will have this condition. When this condition will be satisfied, then only we will get our maximum value of likelihood. And what does this condition gives us? This condition gives us theta is less than x1 and xn is less than 2 theta, or we can say theta is less than x1 and xn upon 2 is less than theta. Again and again I am writing this equality. Fine. Since theta is greater than x1, that means xn by 2 is less than theta less than x1. Now again get back to the first page. This is the maximum value. Find 1 upon theta raised to power n. See, 1 upon theta raised to power n is your maximum value. It will be maximum when theta is minimum. So among xn by 2 and x1, which is minimum? We can easily see xn by 2 is minimum, and since xn by 2 is minimum, it will make 1 upon theta raised to power n maximum. Hence MLE will be 1 upon xn by 2. The value of MLE is not the minimum of xi, it is maximum of xi by 2. So hence the question need to be solved. Thank you.